Welcome to this Friday edition of the OTRSCentral Q&A. Just remember again, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for here on going forward, you're going to get Q&A editions from me, the Schleg Daddy, here on OTRSCentral. You want questions answered, wrestling related, non-wrestling related, take to Twitter, tweet your questions to @OTRSCentral using the hashtag OTRSCentral. Simple enough, isn't it? Now we got some more good questions here for this edition of the Q&A, so let me get started. At Jacob Punk Fan starts it off with, do you think you'll do a Starcade review series around December when it used to happen? Perhaps. I won't say for sure that I will. I do know that I could say with full confidence that you will get a SummerSlam review series this year and a Survivor Series review series this year. Starcade, stuff like that, maybe, maybe not. I will tend to gravitate more to the shows that are currently happening as opposed to the ones that used to happen years ago, partially because, frankly, more people watch them. Do I have interest in doing a Starcade review series? Yes, but I'm not sure it would happen this year. Not saying it won't, though. We'll just have to see. At Antonio794544163, nice Twitter handle, Antonio. Do you think the American public got carried away with the Trayvon Martin case when the problem is the stand your ground law? Um, the American public bought into the bullshit that was being packaged by the national mainstream media that on either side had its own agenda. You had the liberal media, as they might be affectionately called, trying to sit there and talk about this from a standpoint of, this is what happens when you put these guns in people's hands and the stand your ground law is stupid and dot dot dot. And of course he's going to be found not guilty dot 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 because he killed a black kid. And on the flip side, you got the conservative news media like Fox News that is going to use this as a champion type cause to sit there and say, you know what? This was a guy that wasn't white. He was Hispanic, and he shot and killed a black kid. Now we can sit there and get behind this guy and rally behind his cause, and we don't have to look racist because even though we're clearly in the tank against the young kid and this story, we're in this guy's corner. We're behind the Hispanic guy. So you can't call us racist. So the liberals, the conservatives, as you might call them, each had their own agenda, each had their own axe to grind here, their own horse in the race, if you will. And what I guess don't get is what is so different between this case and so many other cases of either police or citizens in general treating young black males in a prejudicial, if not flat out racial way. There are instances like this that happen all the time. Why did this one, out of all of them, get so much attention? It was because it had so many elements of intrigue for all parties involved, and that's exactly what it was. Even the liberal side, so to speak, could sit there and say, this is not a black versus white thing because the shooter's Hispanic. The conservative side could sit there and try and use this as a pathetic excuse to establish that they're not prejudicial or racist because they said, hey, we're backing this guy. He's Hispanic. He's not a white guy. So clearly we're not racist here. We just believe in this case more. And of course, the American public got caught up at this and bought into the media bullshit and helped these state-run, corporate-owned media conglomerates make a lot of money off of this, and it's sad and pathetic. And the real sad and pathetic thing is that a 17-year-old young man is no longer on this planet. And that was something that I think too often got lost in the shuffle here. It was about hoodies, and it was about this, and it was about stand your ground, and it was about that. And at the end of the day, of course, the guy that shot the young black kid would be found not guilty. He might as well have been a damn cop. Nobody won in this case. Everybody lost, including America, sadly. At AJ Lee underscore FT9, are WWE going to leave it at one win each for Cena and The Rock, or do you see a part 3 in the near future to settle it all? I thought they were going to do like WrestleMania 28, 29, 30 and do a 3-parter. I still think that could be a possibility maybe for WrestleMania 31 or 32, maybe making that Rock's retirement match. But at this point in time, that seems shaky at best. Should they do it? Maybe. Would I want to see it? Especially if it meant Cena was going to win. At Chris is nice. What teams don't you fall asleep on watching in the NBA? Teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, teams like the Golden State Warriors, teams that tend to play with more athleticism, more skill, that seem to be able to actually put the ball in the damn basket. Teams like the LA Clippers. Um, you know, most of the Eastern Conference, frankly, makes me fall asleep. Eastern Conference has had a very boring style to me for a good number of years. So it tends to be Western Conference basketball that makes me not fall asleep. At Dakota Did You, what are some flips and kicks, high spots that wow you? Uh, I will always say a good 450 splash, a shooting star press. That type of stuff is always impressive. That arrow finish, what that is it? The red arrow that Adrian Neville does. That's pretty impressive as well. That's something that I think about. That spiral tap that AJ Styles does, I really like that. Um, so those might be some flips and kicks type high spots that do wow me. At Blue Goblin 01, who, in your brutally honest opinion, is the worst president this country has ever had? Ooh, worst president that this country has ever had. I don't think there have been a lot of really truly good ones, because even some of the ones that are revered from days gone by, I think, had their flaws. I don't think Abraham Lincoln was all that particularly good of a president. I think he's one of the more overrated presidents of all time. Worst president, you might go with somebody like a James Buchanan, somebody like a Richard Nixon. Yeah, you could say, I would say a Woodrow Wilson was terrible for this country, allowing things like the federal income tax and the Federal Reserve to come to be. You know, Woodrow Wilson was a really bad president too. I think FDR is incredibly overrated as a president, as is Ronald Reagan. Incredibly overrated. I never understood how Ronald Reagan became a champion for the conservative cause when so many things that he did go against what conservatives supposedly believe in. They want lower spending. Reagan increased spending. They want balanced budgets. Reagan never had a balanced budget. At his time, he created record budget deficits. There's just so many different things, increasing in military spending and this and that. Bush was a terrible president. I think Obama hasn't been great, but he's not nearly as bad as Bush was. But I won't say Bush is the worst ever. Probably Buchanan. Probably. At Hiddesdorf, who can you see as the three main wrestlers going into the 2015 WWE Hall of Fame? Sting, maybe The Rock. Let's hope Macho Man. How about that? At MC_Big Bird, if you had the opportunity to become the GM of any team in the NFL, barring the Bears, which one would it be? Cleveland Browns. Because let's face it, the bar hasn't been set very high. And if I basically did anything well, I'd be viewed as a genius. If I ever got that team built up to a point where it could contend for a championship and win a Super Bowl, I would be a hero. So that would probably be the team. At Twins of Sanity, have you ever watched any of China's porn videos? Oh, have you? Have you watched things like Backdoor to China? Ugh, 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 ah. Looks like a man in the front and in the back. At V9X18, do you think wrestling will have another boom period the level of the Rock and Wrestling era or the Attitude Era? No, frankly, I don't. I hope so, but I doubt it. Sure aren't a lot of indicators that positively point towards that today, that's for damn sure. At T. Broomy, what's your fondest memory of the Attitude Era in terms of sheer entertainment value, whether that be matches or promos, etc.? In terms of the Attitude Era, things that I remember, this off-the-wall crazy stuff that they did with Austin, whether it be the Zamboni or the beer truck, stuff like that, pouring concrete into Vince's Corvette, The Rock, This Is Your Life, the Rock and Sock Connection, all the characters that did interesting, compelling things to me. The Godfathers of the worlds, the Crash Hollies of the worlds, the Rikishis of the worlds, the Val Venuses of the worlds, the APAs of the world, the Undertakers of the worlds, the Mick Foleys, the Mankind's, the Cactus Jacks, the Dude Loves of the worlds. I could go on and on and on. To me, it was about all the great, unique, interesting, compelling characters they had, all the great storylines that they had, all the matches, all the different promos. There was a lot of crap in the Attitude Era too, but there were enough great things to definitely more than compensate and make up for that, and that's just the way it is. At Aussie NFL fan, who are your early choices for offensive and defensive rookies of the year in the NFL? Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'll go Khalil Mack out of Buffalo. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I tend to look at this. I don't know if any of the quarterbacks are going to get enough opportunities to be Offensive Rookie of the Years. Some people might say like a Sammy Watkins. I'll go with running backs. Running backs tend to be a safe choice for Offensive Rookie of the Year, especially because they get a lot of opportunities to impact the game. And looking at running backs that might get the most carries and opportunities as a rookie, I'll probably look at Bishop Sankey for the Tennessee Titans. And do my Cards have any chance this year? Sure, they have a chance, but I'm not as high on them as a lot of other people are because, yes, they finished 10-6 last year, but that was with Carson Palmer as their starting quarterback. Are you really going into 2014 expecting big, huge things out of Carson Palmer? Not to mention the fact that Larry Fitzgerald is another year older. I don't think they did a lot to help their pass rush in the offseason. Their offensive line got better, but how much better did it really get? You bring in Veld here. Cooper hopefully comes back healthy from injury and makes an impact in the interior of that line. Sure, there's a chance for the Cards. I'm just not as high on them maybe as a lot of the national media outlets are. And at BW Rosas closes out this Q&A. Why can't TNA stop with the stupid NWO-like factions? It seems they can't go a year, if not 6 months, without one. Well, that is a phenomenal question, and a question I would love to ask Dixie Carter and John Gaburik and Dave Lagana and everybody involved with TNA. What have these factions really done for their business? What have they really done to improve the standing of the company's bottom line? It's almost like they don't know how to do anything different, so they fall back into old patterns because they feel it's safe. Similar to some of the crap WWE does in terms of just when it looks like they're building new stars, they always revert back to the same old shit with the same old people in the same old way. And TNA is basically caught in the same boat, so to speak. And I don't get it either, and I don't understand it either. I mean, what have these factions ever really done for TNA from a positive standpoint? What have these factions really done to bring more eyeballs to TNA, make TNA a compelling product? More often than not, these factions have just hurt the product tremendously. See Immortal, see the Main Event Mafia, see the Aces and Eights. You would think after the Aces and Eights they would have sworn off big, over-consuming schmaz fuck factions, but apparently, they just are never going to learn. Now, with MVP Lashley and Kenny King, it's only a three-man faction at this point, but maybe it'll grow in size at some point. Maybe it won't because they're trying to rip off Evolution, and if that's the case, it won't be so bad if it's only 3 people. But yes, I don't get TNA's obsession and love with factions. What has it ever really done to truly help the business, and why do they feel in 2014 that they need to go back down that same road once again? Thanks to all of you that submitted your question for this Q&A. Remember, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you'll get Q&A episodes here from me on OTRS Central. Tweet your questions to @OTRS Central on Twitter using the hashtag OTRS Central. The best questions will get answered in a Q&A video to come. Thanks, guys. See you later.